How's it going, lovely people? Welcome back. We are still doing this tunnel. I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't actually gone very far at all since we last came here. But what I have been doing instead is working on the tunnel behind us. Just running strips of anfo across the bottom and then just detonating it and lagging because it just brings so much in. But it's been bringing down a little bit of extra goodies that I'd potentially miss, and then that's enabled me to build and carry on building the rest of the tunnel out, basically. If we bring ourselves out here and stick ourselves topside, you will hopefully see that this is working as well, which is pretty good. The hole is slowly filling up. We can see. Yeah. So, it's a huge hole. And it does take a lot to fill it up, but it does work. It's actually something that I plan to do that is succeeding. But for now, we're just going to get on and keep boring through. Hopefully, we'll find something. We are starting to go lower down now into that rock, which is always good because that means we're getting a bit more gravel, and a bit more gravel becomes a lot more money, which I'm assuming we're going to need substantial amounts of money for the potential upcoming gear that we are going to get pretty soon. So I'm going to basically just chug along with this. If anything interesting happens, I'll let you know. So we've started to find some coal. That's always a good thing. But as it looks, it would appear that that coal is really slim again. I don't know what it is with this map, but finding a coal seam is... I don't know. We found quite a few over the gameplay, but they're not very wide. Obviously, they probably go all the way to the surface and all the way to the ground, but it just feels like it's not worth the time spent trying to dig it out. But for the size of it, it's no much wider than maybe a bucket, you know? So it feels like it'd be a huge expense just to sit there and scoop it out. For the time being, I'm just going to ignore it in a way and just carry on going forwards. I just thought I'd let you guys in on look at what we found. At the minute, it's simply just been the rock and the dirt, so other than the tiny little bit of coal, I've got nothing left to report, I'm afraid. Good news, everybody. We found a little bit more coal. Is it just going to be another meter-long strip, or are we actually going to go somewhere with this? As we're going forwards, thankfully, it looks like it's actually quite deep, which is very welcome, although it's not lining that left side very much, it is lining the right. So this is potentially quite a huge chunk. I mean, we would have been through it by now otherwise. It would have been like that left side there, but it looks good. I don't know how big this is, I don't know how much there'll be, but I'm happy to have found it. I think I might, you know, like we did with the lithium on the other side, I might do that with this coal here, because this is obviously a substantial amount, so it'd be very, very welcome to get that stuff and actually run it through. It'll give us some good money. I am just going to hop out here though before we get too much further forwards. Get the pickaxe out, because I can see that we'll probably end up connecting into all of this stuff on the sides, which we don't want to do. We're just neaten that up so that anything that falls down can go into the conveyors. It's a quite substantial deposit though, so I'm quite happy about finding that. It's nothing like lithium, so it's not exactly a high value ore, but it is an ore nonetheless. Going to offer us potentially more than dirt. This is just pure coal. And a big old chunk of it, so I'll keep trudging through, see if we can get to the other end, and then I guess we'll come back and decide what we're actually going to be doing with this bit here. Don't know how right it is, but just in front of us now it is starting to turn back to sort of rock or dirt, so we might actually be through the coal. Have to see what happens. Our main focus is more that right hand side, because that will let us know where we are with it. But it would appear that, yeah, we are through, but it does expand out on that side, so keep tabs on that side. Starting to close off and narrow in. Okay, so if we push through so that the machinery is past the coal, which doesn't seem like it's going to be too much further, we can then decide how we're going to bring this down. It'd be nice, actually, here is probably a better spot, because if we take that right hand side out and open it all up, then we can turn to the left, so we can bore that tunnel straight through to the concrete. I think that would be pretty good for us, actually. So I'll get this as far in here as I can, just so it's out of the way of any blasting or anything like that. Ooh! Well, that was unexpected. In trying to get out of the coal, it's got us into some coal. That was really unexpected, to be fair. I'll deal with one thing at a time, I think. We'll deal with one thing at a time. So we'll get this out of the way here. Okay, now we've only got Anfo, but we'll start with the roof. Also get some of this, because this will give us some dirt, which will help fill up the hole. Nice. But do we take this to the surface? Is this going to be underneath where we're intending to do all the open mining? I don't really know. The tiny front end loader is not going to be able to work. What about a small excavator? Can we get a small excavator in here? You know, like a proper little tiny one that can get to the sides and pull it down? Pretty sure we've got the money, so I'm going to have a look at that, you know. I know everything is just still processing through, but there's no harm in selling a few things. Some good chunks of stuff here as well. That's a nice little sum. That'll help towards getting us a little excavator. Then we've got all that coal. Wow, okay. Gravel and a little bit of solid rock. That's awesome. We do have this one, but he's a little bit too big for what we need. Front end loader's nice and small, but he's probably too big as well. Because I was just thinking if we jump in the shop, look at an excavator, we can pick up one of these little fellas with the wheels and stuff, because these seem to be really small. And we've got the EXM bucket down there, so if we can get the bucket, in fact we can sell that entire excavator. So what I think is if we can nick this bucket, then we can sell the excavator. So we'll sell this excavator. Nice. And we'll buy this excavator. Got the same bucket, so that should be cool. So we're looking to drop this in here. All crumbs. He's a little bit smaller. He's more inky. We get the bucket in as well. Please land the right way. Okay, well it landed a way, not necessarily the right way. I'm going to spend forever and a day driving this down the hole, and I'll catch you when I get there. Slight hiccup, and we've got to take a little bit more of the roof down just to get us through, but that's not a huge problem thanks to the Anfo. There we go. Now we've got a pass that we can get through. We are here. This is where we want to be. So I think one more set of roof pieces just to bring us a little bit further in and a little bit further up, so we've got a little bit of room above us, which will help the excavator out. Then what we can do is we can blast this down, hopefully. Okay, so that achieved not what we were looking for. Then we're going to take this all off again, just so it opens it up and exposes it. Put a little bit of a floor down so we've got a little bit of room. Then we can start excavating. So reasons why I picked this, basically it's tight, tiny little thing, so it should be able to get in most places within what we're trying to do. So its rotation of itself is pretty much within its own footprint, which a lot of the excavators kind of overhang a little bit here and there, but this little fella is tight enough to fit where he is. Should lead us on to good things. Just got to be careful of these little floaters on the ceiling. Let's see if we can get them with the pickaxe. And hopefully it just clears it a little bit. If we're still too tight on the roof, we can always Anfo it anyway, so it's no big issue in that respect. We can still blow stuff apart, get stuff out of the way. But yeah, this is going to be hopefully getting us some more coal. There we go. There we go. Get all that onto the conveyors. Obviously it's not got a lot of weight, it's only a small little thing. So it's easily going to get thrown around, but it's doing what it needs to do. It's just going to take us a while, that's all. Don't mind that, we'll be here all day. I'm just going to get on with this and get all of this kind of freed up if we can. We've dug a little bit of a way in, which means in theory, the little front end loader that we've got should have a little bit of room to get in and start nibbling away. So I'm going to go and get that. And then hopefully that'll help us open this up a bit. This is just all concrete blocks as well. Just kind of stopped it all phasing through each other, and then anything that lands on this is disappearing. So we are encountering some losses, but it's not all bad in the grand scheme of things. The amount we're getting versus the amount we're losing, it's nothing. Right, front end loader. The only thing with the length of these tunnels is that it takes such a long time to drive down them. So it is a very tedious process, that's for sure. But we'll get there, and then we'll get in and we'll carry on doing what we're doing. Okay, so do we have any room? Number one, not particularly. We've had to move this fella. Number two, what I'm also going to do is branch out this way as well. So we'll take these out of the way. Reason being, it opens up a little bit of a mini center, and if we do wish to store machinery, for example, or change direction, change tack, we can do that going that way towards the concrete tunnel. Like, it would be nice to join those two tunnels up, but I'd like to get this just opened up a little bit, just so we've got a bit of room for all the gear that we do have down here. We'll just get him in as deep in there as we can, park him up, and then we'll hop into this fella. Get rained on by some dirt and see what we can do. You just want to kind of open things up a little bit. I know people might say, why don't you use the underground loader? Simple fact being that when I looked, it was massive. It was too big. It was as big as one of these, but the bigger versions. So it was too long to do what I'm trying to do, which is why we've got this in the first place. So the idea is, if I can just kind of get as much as this as I can, and stick a couple more blocks on the floor so that I can then get to that left hand side that's a lot closer. Because that left hand side doesn't really have too much of the coal, it's a better place to get in, open it up, and use it as like a parking spot, just to put excess machinery that we have to have down here because of various different reasons. But it keeps it out of the way, keeps the tunnel clear if we need to run the fuel truck through or anything like that. Also is a good place to stick the fuel truck if this is where we're working, really. Just keeps everything nice and tidy without getting anything in the way of itself. Now I know that the coal goes below, obviously, but I just want to kind of level it off at most. Which does mean that we'll just be blocking over the top of some of it, so we're not going to get it all. I'm not really worried about that much at the moment. It depends on what happens. Like, say this bit might end up being taken all the way to the surface, in which case we might as well use all that open mining machinery that hopefully we're getting soon, because that's bigger equipment as well, so it'll be better suited for the job. So you should be able to just demolish this stuff really easy. We'll see what is offered and what we get, and then we can work from there. But for now, I need to go buy me some concrete blocks. Need to get me some concrete blocks so I can just extend this a little bit. And the more that we bulk this out this way, the better it will be the other side, because we'll be able to get in. 4 blocks wide is a substantial amount of... yeah, maybe 4 or 5 blocks wide. It's a substantial amount of sort of parking. Or floor space, whichever way you want to look at it. So we'll see what happens. So hopefully we can make some sort of progress with this. I'm not entirely sure if I'm supposed to be able to dig through this rock or not, but at the minute, what we can do, I will do. Try and open this space up so we've got some room to swing a cat, as it were. So I've made some progress under here. Not a lot, but some. The small front end loader. And what I did is I've gone to get the big one. So we're going to see if this will actually fit, because I know that sometimes, I mean, it's big. It's a lot bigger than I think it is, so it might not fit still, but it might. And if it does fit, then we'll use this, because this is going to help speed things up a lot. It's a lot bigger, so hopefully it'll be able to do us some use. We might be okay. We might be okay. We just need to be able to get in a little bit and swing some stuff around here. But we should be managing to do that. Yeah, we can. That's good. So with this, we should be able to open this space up a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. That'll be awesome. We'll keep that gap that side, so I can go forwards in here, which sort of work. The idea is to then aim down here. Hey, there we go. We squeeze yourself next to this. Little emptying bay bit. Job's a good one. And that enables us to go straight forwards again to take another bite. And using a bigger loader should speed things up a little bit. I say speed things up. I'm not actually sure what I'm trying to achieve, really. I know I want to dig this out and I wanted to open it up. For what purpose? Where are we trying to get to? I am trying to see where the back end of this coal is, though. It's quite a big chunk, and usually you sort of hit the back end of it. Especially on this map, the coals never seem to be quite big, but this one's substantial, so I'm hopeful that it's got a lot to it. It's just trying to find out where it goes. Well, it seems to just keep going, so I don't know where the end of this coal is. It might be here. Seems to be a little bit more dirt-like, but yeah, honestly, this might actually be rather large, and I don't really know it. I'm going to pump this into the conveyor system. And then I think we should have a look to see how we're doing financially wise. Just from doing this, because it's quite a lot of coal, really. It looks like nothing else is being processed, which means that the conveyors are faster than the vehicles, which is pretty good. So let's see what we have here. I was going to say not a lot, but in all honesty, we didn't really get much paid out because we were doing coal. So 107, call it 108,000, and this is where the money should be. 15,000 worth of coal. I don't think I've seen that much coal. Ooh, nearly 500,000 alone, just in coal. So it was good to kind of have a little dig in there. Gravel puts us up nicely, and then rock just tickles it over. That's pretty good going. So that tiny little hole, nearly 700,000, which brings us up to a nice 1.8. But I think that is us until next time, when hopefully there should be some new goodies to show. Catch you guys again. Thank you very much for dropping in. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.